Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. I am a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live, drop your questions into the comment box and I will check from time to time. Don't hesitate, questions from me or the guest. I will be checking into the comments section. Today's guest, and that is a plural, our James Beard nominated Chef Chris Amendola of Foraged Eatery, a hyper-local restaurant here in the Baltimore area. Emmy nominee, filmmaker, director, producer, editor, writer, Renee Fischer of Spring and Fall Productions. Renee has just completed a documentary called Forager, focusing in on Chef Amendola's passion and life path. Let's bring them both in. Well, hello there. Happy holidays.
Hi, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great, and it's good to see your lovely faces. And I see that Renee is in the spirit of the holidays, a nice red top. I have the poinsettia in the background. That's about as big as I go. Let me do a little intro to both of you. Renee was a double major at the College of Notre Dame and then has an MA from Stanford University, English, Communication Arts, double major, as I said. You write, film, edit, direct, and produce documentaries. What was or is the driving force to tell these stories, Renee?
Well, I guess I started my career as a newspaper writer, and I really enjoyed hearing people's different perspectives. But I really like the aspect of visual storytelling, and I do tie it to a bit of social justice. I worked for a time for Catholic Relief Services, and I work for Johns Hopkins now full time. So my driving force is to tell stories that inspire people, that reinforce, our commonalities, and as I have on my website, hopefully raise the human spirit. I think it's really important. We hear a lot of negative things all the time, so I try to tell stories that are meaningful, that might move people in some way.
Terrific. And Chris, welcome back to the Food Enthusiast for your third interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And on the Be More website, like Saturday Night Live, your next appearance would be the 5th appearance, and you need to get a special jacket, and we're going to start a club for those people interviewed by me like they do. Since our last interview, which was just as restaurants were opening up, we were waiting to hear what the mayor of Baltimore City was going to say about reopening. You have moved from the Hamden neighborhood to Stations North, which is a larger restaurant. For those who don't know you, Foraged Eatery is a hyper-local dining restaurant. The menu changes weekly, daily, whatever is freshest coming in. Explain Foraged Eatery's ethos.
So we really like to put focus on what's in season, those specific times of year. With it being December currently, obviously it's going to be a lot of potatoes and root vegetables and braised meats. But, as the year goes on, tomatoes and squashes and all those great things, we just create an ever-changing menu, to kind of showcase those products that our farmers and foragers are harvesting for us.
Right, and are you doing as much foraging as you were doing before?
I am just as much. I still love it. It's my quiet time out in the woods and go hunt for mushrooms and plants and stuff like that. It's still a very big part of my life.
I don't know if you saw on the profile, I got a kick out of it that I had the music Into the Woods. Did you hear the music with it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, it was go into the woods. It's their neighbor. It's their place. Be careful where you walk, whatever, something like that. I have fun.
Cool.
I have fun trying to pick out music to go with these things. Renee, congrats on your Emmy nomination for your film book by its cover. In fact, our producer Jen said, "Was that the one on MPT?" I said, "Yes." Can you tell us a little bit about this nominated documentary that you did?
Sure, sure. So I am involved in a women's giving circle, and we get grant applications. And one of them one year was from a group called Turning Pages. And the woman who was running it had started a program for incarcerated fathers to be able to read to their children in jail. A lot of times in particularly Baltimore County, there are not, at least at that time, there were not a lot of face-to-face physical interactions. Everything was through glass or on the phone. So she had started a program and she ran it for 10 years to allow the dads to not only sit with their children, but she would also have father's nights where she would talk to them about, well, this is how you read to children. And it was, the film was about that program. And we talked to 3 dads who were in the program and went through it, like what it meant to them. We talked to their wives or partners. We talked to the children just about how that program was making an impact in their life.
Well, that follows suit with what you said, your films are about. So, absolutely. Um, with my numerous interviews I've conducted, every chef has a special story. A lot of chefs that I've met when I run cooking classes and things like that are attention deficit, or for whatever reason, they couldn't fit anywhere else. A lot, especially in the days past, drug and alcohol abuse. Investments in a restaurant, they would invest in their restaurant, sacrificing the family home, the child's college education, all to put that plate of food before their guest in the restaurant. I'm sure listeners, and especially me, want to know how and why the two of you connected for this film, Forager.
Do you want to start,
Go ahead,
Chris?
Renee. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was so I do a full-time job, working for Hopkins. So I do my independent films on the side, and although it's not on the side because they are definitely a passion. And I was looking for a new story, and right around that time, Chris was nominated, and because I'm not a foodie. I'm self-confessed non-foodie, although I'm expanding. I am expanding my palate, and so I looked up his restaurant and I liked the idea of foraging. I sent him a Facebook message of all things with some information about me and some links to my past work. And then we had a phone conversation and we did connect on a lot of things like humanely raised animals and supporting local farmers. And Chris did share some of his backstory as well. And I started to hear in my own head, okay, I see how this story could come together. I think this could be a good film. And then we met in person and discussed it.
That's great. And Chris, how did you feel about this? I mean, obviously you participated, but you opened up about your life that maybe some of the people didn't know about you.
Yeah, it's incredibly nerve-wracking. That's for sure,
I didn't make it easy.
No, I haven't made my, younger years very public to a lot of people. A lot of close people, kind of know my past and have a good idea of it. But I think a lot of times I don't really look at my past as inspirational. I kind of keep my head down and work. So it's really cool, to see it kind of put together all through a story and kind of shines light on, my path through life. And I'm honored that Renee did this for me and, super excited about it. It's really cool.
Well, I do know, I mean, from years past, and the industry has a lot of, excuse the expression, what they would say, the misfits behind the line, where people couldn't find a life before, couldn't express themselves. And I think, this sheds a little bit of light. Even during COVID, people take, like many other people, they take chefs and restaurant for granted. That and so much goes into it, and especially with Chris, his passion. I'm wondering, is the forest garden still going, Chris?
A little bit. With the restaurant in our newer space, it's kind of consumed a lot more of my time just with it being a bigger restaurant and still trying to catch our footing a little bit. We kind of put things on hold out at the farm. We do still have like 15 chickens and 2 ducks, so we still collect eggs daily, and I have a little projects going on out there, but not a full-fledged, growing operation at the moment.
When you were foraging, was there one thing that you found, because you forage around here, you started in upstate New York, but were you ever out foraging and you found something and you went, wow, this is surprising to find this here?
Actually, hazelnuts. Last year, I came across some
Really?
hazelnuts, and I was really shocked to see them. It was really cool.
I know the last time we talked, you had wild turkey eggs. You remember that one?
We
Yeah.
can't talk about that too much. No,
Okay.
but those are super cool. Yeah, I don't see those a whole lot.
Right. Um, Renee, I want to tell people before I forget, and a lot of the connections to Chris Amendola's Foraged Eatery is up in the comments. There are links to the promo for the movie Forager. There are links to Renee Fischer films. This is all up in the comment section for everyone to take a look at and connect. And I want to do this now because I ran out of room here. It's glued to my screen. Before I forget, Renee, let's talk about spring and fall productions. And you're currently, have you completed the film Forager? Where are we on that? And what is going on with people donating money to the movie?
Right. So we're on the final touches. I'd say we are still working on the credits and a few graphics, but we are very close to being done. But there is then distribution. There are other costs that are being incurred. So we are still running a fundraiser. It's a 3-tiered fundraiser. If people, and it is a portion of it's tax deductible because Spring and Fall is a fusion partner. And so it falls under as a 501c3.
See,
So people who give it the $25 level get a thank you in the credits. People who give it the $50 level get a thank you in the credits and are invited to a private screening party that we're going to have in the new year. And then people who give it the $100 level get to have an appetizer tasting and some conversation with Chris, followed by the screening and with the thank you in the credits.
okay. I can now toss this. I just wanted to make sure I covered it. I'm just Chris. I want to congratulate you again on the James Beard nominated Best Mid-Atlantic Chef. And recently, the wonderful write-up by the Washington Post restaurant reviewer Tom Setsuma. I'm not sure I'm
Thank you, thank
pronouncing
you.
that right. We're giving it the good old try. On your menu, which changes regularly, on your menu, you explain that appetizers and entrees should have died in the 90s. It's about shared plates, not only foraged items, but you do a bit of offal, OFFAL. Nothing much is wasted. And I'm looking here, another piece of paper, because I'm so prepared, a copy of your menu, and you say that Foraged Eatery, our commitment is to scratch-made cuisine shines from our breads to our dessert. Now, there's a whole section for pig parts. And the last time we talked about pig's ears, I see that you have pig snout. Is that a popular item? Do people want to
It
try it?
is. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites on that section of the menu. Yeah, people order a lot of all those different pig parts, and we try and keep it rotating depending on what we can get, and it's actually probably one of my favorite parts of the menu.
Okay, and you do let them know there's a 3-course prefix, there's a 5-course tasting menu that you can get, and all the plates are shareable. So when the dish is ready, it comes out and you share. And to me, that's the perfect table. I hate going,
Absolutely, I agree.
share the food. I hate going somewhere and somebody won't let me taste what they got.
The same, I think that's a big part of dining with somebody, is to share that experience of the food and what that restaurant offers.
Um, we have covered the film raiser. Chris, are you planning? I know you're busy because it's a larger restaurant. Are you planning any foraging classes?
I would really like to try and get back to doing that. We haven't really done that in a while, but I'm hoping starting this coming spring and summer that we can start doing that again. We do get a lot of requests of people still really interested in taking those classes, and so it's definitely on the goals for 2024 is to get those classes going again.
So, what is next for Forager, Renee? We wrap it up. Where are we going?
Well, we've submitted to some film festivals. We're hopeful for the Maryland Film Festival, but I know that lots of things, there are a lot of different factors with programming and such, but I've submitted to some other non-local film festivals. But it is about getting it seen. I will talk to Maryland Public Television again, just like I did for my other film. I did have an idea for maybe trying to get it on the Food Network. We'll see. But the idea is to get it seen. I think at least my tendency is that I work and I get the film done, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done. But I'm going to correct that this time and make sure that I really push to get it seen. So,
Well, I think something that might be interesting is I can't think Chris Kimball's podcast. That would be a great one to be on because he does so many different interviews of people, and I think that would be absolutely fabulous. Did you, after learning about foraging, uh, Renee, something stand out? You went, I always do this, and only older people understand that one. Did you have that moment you go, I didn't know that?
I think it really more is about trying things, not necessarily in foraging. I like to stay on paths when I go to the woods, which Chris knows. But I have, like, recently I was invited to something in DC, and it was all different kinds of things. And I've opened up more about trying things, and I think that's what and Chris's food too. I wasn't honestly a big mushroom fan, but I ate some of the mushroom stew, and I was like, oh, this is good. So that's what I'm taking from a food perspective. That's what I'm taking away from this project, is that I'm more open to trying different things.
That's great. That's great. Um, you're a certified mushroom forager now since we last spoke, Chris. Um, and I know some of your background only because I've interviewed you so many times. But you have worked in some Michelin star restaurants, stagiaires, the farm at the Stone Barn Farm with Dan Barber and 11 Madison. I'm curious, was Carrie Heffernan the executive chef then?
Oh, to be completely honest, I don't really remember who the other than Daniel who was running that when I was there.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
uh,
okay. If
it,
Daniel Hume was there, then Carrie had left.
okay, okay.
Carrie had been there. And I was just curious because I'm trying to get him on the show. And he's very much an advocate for better water, seafood, etc. And he's done a lot for that.
Awesome.
And Renee, you sort of already answered my questions that you don't really do a lot of cooking. Are you a carry out delivery kind of gal?
So I mean, I'm pretty good, but I don't usually take the time. I eat a lot of salads. with protein on them. This is a story I probably shouldn't share, but I am known in my family for my mac and cheese, and people are always like, "Well, what makes yours so good?" And I always say, "Well, I start out with slightly questionable ingredients because I'm like, is this expired? Is this still good?" And then I always have some sort of mishap, and somehow it comes together. So I'm a decent cook, but yeah, I don't go out of my way necessarily. I eat pretty simply when I'm just preparing for myself.
Well, some of that mold can be good for you, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
That's the blue cheese. That's the blue cheese.
I don't use the expired. It just might be close to.
Close to. Okay. We'll leave it at that. I hope to be able to get to see the film only for so many reasons, and I hope that people tune into the show. I asked a number of questions at the end of the show, and I might throw some your way, Renee. And Chris, I went through our 2 interviews, so hopefully I'm not going to ask you the same questions I did then. So let me throw it out. And I don't know if you answered this already, Renee. What was your best bite all this week?
If you had asked me 2 hours ago, I would have had a different answer. But an hour ago, a neighbor brought me a holiday gift bag with some homemade maple biscotti that had pistachios and dried fruit in it, and it was phenomenal. So that was my best bite of the week.
And I have to answer that. I make a pistachio and cranberry biscotti every year. Same recipe. There is no butter, there's no oil in it, and people crave it. And I cut it down to 4 batches this year. So I have 1 Ziploc bag that's going to a party tonight, and they're gone. All right, Chris, best bite of the week.
I don't know if I would consider it a bite, but our bar manager we were working on a non-alcoholic drink menu for January, for dry January, and he made this fermented beet soda, and it was phenomenal. It was so good.
So it's sort of like a sweet tart.
Yeah, yep, little sweet, little tart. Has that kind of fermented flavor to it, which it was just really, really lovely.
When you're saying fermented, like a kombucha?
Yeah, kind of like a kombucha.
Okay. All right, next question. For both of you, think about it. If you wake up tomorrow with a new talent, what would it be? All right, Renee, you seem to already have that in mind.
Well, I'm thinking, I sing. It's a huge passion of mine. I think I would like to have better stage presence. I think that's what I would like to have, to combine. And maybe my singing could also be better. But yeah, that's what I think I would like.
I heard you. You were singing on a video with your mother. She was drinking.
On Facebook, that's true. That's true. We were singing Danny Boy.
I'm such a voyeur. Facebook was made for me. I can slip in and out of people's lives, and they have no clue. All right. So, all right, Chris. New talent tomorrow.
I think it would be to be able to play the violin. I love the violin, and it's so challenging to play. But yeah, to be able to learn or know how to play the violin flawlessly.
Do you play other instruments?
I used to play classical guitar way back in the day, but actually got a violin a little while ago, and thought it might be similar, but no, not even close.
Okay, I do have a question here. I got carried away with the conversation. In keeping with your foraging for wild occurring foods, how do you feel about using wild game?
Oh, I love wild game. I wish we could use that at the restaurant. The United States is one of the only countries in the world where we can't serve wild game because the meats have to be inspected or killed in front of a USDA inspector. So it's not really a thing that we can do at restaurants, which I would love to be able to do.
Mm, it's a good question. All right, new talent. I know we've gone over a couple of your culinary fails in past interviews. Um, if you could give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
You want to go first, Renee?
No, you go first.
I'd probably tell myself, it's going to be a very challenging road, but it's going to be a very fulfilled career ahead of you.
Renee?
This is not going to help anybody with my answer, but I had an opportunity to go abroad like my junior year of college, and I didn't because a boyfriend begged me not to go, and he was gone before the end of junior year. So I wish that I thought more about taking the path maybe that I was most set on versus sometimes giving too much weight to other people.
I think that's a good answer. And to both of you, what question didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
That's
Renee?
funny. I end every interview I do with that question there.
Really?
I literally do. I say, "Is there anything you want to cover that I didn't think to cover?" Gosh, I don't know. I think you did a great job. I don't know that I have anything else to add. I'll have to think about that one. You go first, Chris.
I might have to agree with Renee on that one. I think we covered quite a bit. I can't seem to think of anything off the top of my head.
All right. Well, people should come to Foraged Eatery, make reservations. Are you doing anything special for New Year's?
We're just kind of running our regular menu. We're gonna kind of do up the 5-course tasting a little bit and just kind of make it special, in our own way.
Okay. Well, there's probably a million things that I probably should have covered. I hope at some point we all get to see the movie, but those of you out in the culinary world, and if you forage, help them out. You will find a link somewhere in here that says support Forage. The link is there, and it's Renee Fischer, Fischer, films.com. It is forage.eatery, and that is on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find it there. Please support them. And I thank you both for being on the show. The best of the holiday season to a healthy 2024 for you. And thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
My
thank
pleasure.
you. And same to you.
I enjoyed it so much. All right, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Prayers for peace and love for 2024. The Food Enthusiast will return in 2 weeks. My guest will be Mark Bucher. Mark Bucher, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Bucher is a longtime restaurateur, a Taste of the NFL chef, and world burger champion who has been combating food insecurity since March 2020, when the when the pandemic first hit. Through his restaurants, medium rare restaurants, he co-owned, Boucher has launched multiple charitable efforts to fight hunger. He's really quite fascinating, and as my friend likes to say, these underachievers that I have on the show, which are none, they're all, multiple degrees, hard workers, and it's a great time for me to thank all the multitude of people who have come on the show and talked about their passions and their interests. I want to thank them. And my little tidbit. If you have Roku on your TV, look at the Roku Live. They are pushing the cooking shows. Who do you want to watch? You want to watch Emerald? You want to watch Martha? Do you want to watch Chris Kimball? Do you want to watch American Test Kitchen? Do you want to watch Sarah Moulton? All the cooking shows are there. There's some Anthony Bourdain shows there, The Mind of a Chef. Very fascinating. So if you're tired of the regular drone on streaming channels. Just go in there, watch them. You can find something to cook 24 hours a day on the live station. So if you have Roku. Monthly, J More Living is giving away a $50 gift card to some of your favorite local restaurants. Visit jmoreliving.com/contest to enter to win. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com or my Instagram account. Please follow me. The Instagram is at Dara Cooks, DARACOOKS. Give me a follow on Instagram. All shows are immediately archived in video form on JMore's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. Feel free to dig into our video archives of past shows. In fact, go find Chris's interviews. They go back to 2020 and I think 2021. And Chris was my first live show with a guest. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. May your plates always remain full. Thank you for tuning in, and the best of the holiday season to a happy new year.